I'll do some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Hello, and welcome to a dreamy episode of All Things Horror. I am your host, Ben, and I'm joined here with my co-host, Matt. If you're new to the show, each week we choose a movie to break down and review. We give our honest opinions and rate it from 1 to 10. We have a brief spoiler-free chat about the movie before heading into the plot and discussing our favourite and least favourite parts of the movie. This week we're going to be talking about arguably the most famous horror film ever created. It's A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. But before we do, let's take a quick look at the trailer.
The kids of Elm Street don't know it yet, but something is coming to get them.
There's something out there, isn't there?
We just see cuts happening.
What did that, Lieutenant?
I don't know.
What has the coroner got to say? He's in the jar and puking since he saw it.
They're gonna kill me for sure.
Did you do it?
There was somebody else there.
He was locked in a room with a girl who went in alive and came out in a rubber bag.
No one knows where it came from or who it will visit next.
Nancy? There's something wrong with you. You're imagining things.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
No.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
She's the only one who can stop it. If she fails,
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
no one will survive. From Wes Craven, director of The Hills Have Eyes and Last House on the Left, a new masterpiece in fantasy terror, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Alright, so several teenagers are killed by Freddy Krueger.
What? No.
He torments
Yes.
them in their dreams. Nancy and her friends need to solve the mystery or they shall be killed too. Written and directed by Wes Craven. Main cast: Robert Englund, Heather Langenkamp, Johnny Depp, and John Saxon. Runtime of hour and a half, and I think it's available on Amazon Prime. Yeah, it's taken us 30 episodes, but we got here to arguably be probably the most known horror film ever. I think they call them the Big Four, don't they? Freddy, Jason, Michael, and Leatherface. The Big Four.
Oh, yeah. The boy band.
Yeah. So, yeah. 3
Wow.
down, 1 to go.
Fire.
Yeah. I was surprised, actually, about the budget being only 1 mil, or 1.1 mil.
Yeah, I guess he wasn't. I mean, this is literally the film that built the production company. There's New Line, isn't it? And like, they weren't a big company. They're essentially just the brainchild of, what's her name? Her and her husband, or mainly him. Bob Shaye. There we go. Bob Shaye, yes. And you can cut all that out while I was trying to think. Brainchild of Bob Shaye, and obviously Lynn Shaye makes an appearance in this film as well.
Yeah, Lynn Shaye.
But yes, for the second time since we've been doing these, she's appeared.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a big company. It was because of this film, and I guess Wes Craven was kind of not blacklisted as such, but certainly when he did First House on the Left, Did I say First House on the Left? Or
The
Last
first
House
one.
The first one is a sequel to the. I always do stuff like that. I'm always like Seventh House on the right, and like people are like, I must be driving them insane.
House of 2,000 Corpses.
Yeah, numbers really mess me up, man, and yeah, they really do. I think that's a whole different podcast, but like making that, and do you know why as well? I think that I get mixed up with that is that there's like about 12 different rip-offs of it that all have similar titles.
Yeah,
so yeah, I guess you look at the kind of the timeline of making that film, and then he wasn't that happy with it because he felt he'd maybe gone too far with it. So then you can kind of add that into what came next. He's not like he's a big name in the sense of everyone's throwing money at him to make films.
So was that
like he's still proving himself?
That was his debut, wasn't it? Last House on the Left. That was it. And then I think he followed it up with The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah. So like, I think that as much as it is kind of discussed and kind of revered, I think it wasn't. I think to a certain degree, I think I remember reading that he was saying he felt kind of ostracized once people had seen it. They were like, "Nah, don't like this." I think he did one called The Fireworks Woman. So it was such a kind of, which was like a sex film, like a sex people in. Like Last House on the Left, it wasn't like some sort of big hit because people were scared to watch it and didn't like it, and the ones who did watch it were kind of appalled by it. So he had to go and make a porn film before he did The Hills Have Eyes, and then The Hills Have Eyes, again, quite shocking film. So then he makes a TV movie. This is like bouncing about, and it's like, when there's no cachet to comic book films, he's making Swamp Thing and stuff like that, and and The Hills of Eyes 2 is not really particularly, people don't really talk about it really. That's maybe one for us to cover in the past.
Yeah,
in the past, in the future.
In the past,
we'll cover it in the past. We'll go back in time.
Yeah,
my brain is not working today. And then Nightmare on Elm Street's like, to put it in perspective, and not that IMDb is the be all and end all, but like The Hills of Eyes Part 2, 3.8 IMDb, and Nightmare on Elm Street 7.4.
Yeah.
So it's a massive, massive critical and commercial success.
Yeah, well, that's why I was quite shocked about the budget. But I guess if he's done films like that, I mean, but this must have been like hugely well received because I see. At the end of its theatrical release, it earned like more than 25 mil. So within 3 days of it being released, it had already got its budget back, which is quite incredible.
Yeah, and I get maybe it's the Halloween effect as well. I know it's about 5 years after Halloween or 6 years, but it was still in that groundswell, like that proper massive slasher boom, and we're still at the point, I think, where you're not getting the absolute trickling off, just people trying to make money out of it. You're actually getting some good ones still being made. So this is when maybe people aren't fed up of it. I guess like a bit like what we're seeing now with superhero films. Like superhero films come out of the cinema now and then just disappear, or come out on streaming and then just disappear. Whereas like when Iron Man came out, or the first Captain America, that people were like, wow, I've got to go and see this. It's like a big thing.
Yeah.
Like that particular bit. This is like, right then, this is like, oh man, another slasher film's coming out. And it's like, I heard it's really good. And they probably weren't even calling them slasher films then.
Probably not.
Probably just calling them horror. But it is. The cast is really good. But then again, most of them aren't. None of them really are big names. There's only I would argue that John Saxon's probably the biggest name when this is made
at the time. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And he was in so many great films, and like he is somebody criminally underrated. Particularly all the Italian giallo films that he did, but he's in things like Black Christmas. He's in so many. He just pops up He's good in everything, and he gives it a bit of credibility in the horror circles. It's not going to be complete trash if John Saxon's in it, or if it is going to be trash, at least it's going to be good fun trash.
Yeah,
he's like Johnny Depp wasn't Johnny Depp. Heather Langenkamp, even though she gets this part beating Courtney Cox and Demi Moore and all these big names to the role, even they weren't big names at the time, and she wasn't either.
Yeah, well, I think this was Johnny Depp's debut, and he was just, I think it was 21 years old in this film. Yeah. I'm not sure how old Heather was, probably round about the same, maybe.
Yeah, she was very young, and I just heard an interview with her recently on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, and she was talking all about getting started in it, and it was nice to hear what a great relationship she had with Wes Craven. But I think most people did. I think most people who worked with him just seem to have... Nobody has a bad word to say about him, which is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And they wasted no time in pumping out all these sequels as well. I think it was a bit like how Friday the 13th was... we spoke about it in that one.
Yeah.
How much of a success it was. And straight away, off the bat, they've already started making the next one. And so I think in total, including like spin-offs and remakes, it was 9. So, I mean, the box set I've got, which, the Craven box set, there's 7 of them. I won't list them all off, but in date order, it's like 84, 85, 87, 88, 89, 91, and 94. So near enough
there's
every
only
year.
A gap when they've not been super successful. There's like a gap of maybe 2 or more years. So, like, it's only now, I think, people are starting to realise the second one's like a good film.
That's starting to make a comeback, that second one.
Yeah, and I think that's because of that. Ages ago, I think I maybe talked about in the podcast the Mark Patton documentary about his life and kind of how playing that character Jesse in it had changed his life. It's a really, really good documentary all about Mark Patton that he did, and it's actually helped him come back. Since the documentary, he's been in tons of horror films. Like, there was a massive gap from then, from about 86, 87, 88, and then he starts being in films around 2016 again, which is around the time he starts filming the documentary. It's called Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's kind of about like the sort of the queer coding within the film, and it's so good. It's really, really good. It's made me reappreciate and reappraise the second one, because obviously then there's a gap, isn't there? There's none in 1986. The third one comes out and it's like, let's bring back Nancy. Let's bring back familiarity. But
and John Saxon.
And the third one is my favourite actually out of the whole series.
Okay.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Then the fourth and the fifth, people tend to not have much to say about it, but at that point he is just a pop culture icon, and people would go and watch him do anything. And there's some creative stuff in there, because they get people like Rennie Harlan directing, and they get some kind of different kind of creative visions. And then it's only when he leans towards the meta stuff with New Nightmare and things like that where you can kind of see him getting ready to move on and do things like Scream. So it's like a really interesting journey.
Yeah. This might be a hard question to answer, but why do you think the horror fans love this movie so much?
I think it's the same reason they like Michael Myers and Jason, in the sense of it's like you can close your eyes and think about what he looks like, so it's hard coded into your brain, the look. I think Freddy is strange in a strange sort of way. There's more humor there. There's more stuff. So as a kid, you can go to school and talk about what you saw, and it's like a bit more wild, like later on with stuff like the pizza and all the other crazy stuff that goes on. So I think that's the reason why people like it. I think it's the humor of it. I think as well, a lot of it's Robert Englund and what he brings to it. He elevates that character. You've
definitely
only got to watch the remake to see that you need Robert Englund in it. Who would you, if you had to recast it now, who would you think of?
Yes. You mentioned this last episode, didn't you?
Yes.
I've had a good think about it. Are we talking like a brand new movie?
Yeah.
If it was remade again today as a brand new movie, I don't know. I've got down Steve Buscemi.
Ooh.
Because
not many people think of that.
Yeah, he is quite a weird and wonderful person. He's kind of he can play that creepy person. He's quite skinny, and I just reckon he'll be a fun kind of killer. You think?
Yeah, I can see that. I was always in the. I think I said this last time. I was always in the Kevin Bacon camp.
Crispy bacon.
Yeah, I thought he'd be good, but somebody put it on Twitter, so I can't even like say it was me. But like David Demalchian, who is he's currently he's Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad. He's actually in The Last Voyage of the Demeter as well, and he's in Oppenheimer. He would be good. I think he would be good.
I think if it was going to be released as a new movie today, I would still like it to be an 80s movie. I think they should do it like how they've done Stranger Things. Yeah,
or even like it has an 80s feel, but it's not necessarily in the 80s, like they did with Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
Because it might as well have been an 80s. It felt like an 80s film.
You know the girl who plays Nancy Wheeler in Stranger Things?
Yes.
I reckon she'll be good as Nancy Thomas.
Oh, yeah, she would be good, actually. Maybe I'd imagine, like most things in Stranger Things, it's like very deliberate choices of names and stuff. It's funny because I was just watching or reading a bit, because I finally got round to watching the new Ghostbusters, and they were saying, like, some of the actors thought that if they did things in Stranger Things related to films that they liked and stuff, and films that were in that were in the series, like say when they dress up as the Ghostbusters for Halloween, that means that they're never going to be in that film in their career. And then obviously the guy who plays Mike ends up being in the Ghostbusters one, and he auditioned for it not knowing that that's what it was. But he just assumed he was never going to be in it. And I guess like being called Nancy and being on Stranger Things, she probably thinks she'll never be. And also, I guess she looks quite young for her age, so it depends when it gets made. If it's getting made tomorrow, she might still be able to do it.
Yeah.
But they've all grown up a lot on that TV show.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was having a think about why people love it so much, because it's quite a weird and wonderful film, and it's kind of a game changer in the horror genre, because up until this point we had slashers, monsters, possession, paranormal, but this in a way is kind of all of the above wrapped into one all-round person. Like Freddy, like he's not only is he a superhuman killer, but he can get you in the one place that you can't escape from. In your dreams are supposed to be your safe
and he can
place.
Talk as well. Like the other ones can't really talk.
Yeah.
Like Michael Myers and Jason can't talk.
And I mean, Jason, Michael, and Leatherface. Technically, you can just run away. You could outrun them if you could.
Yeah, it's psychological, isn't it? And he's funny. Like there's funny bits in the film. We'll get to as we go through it. But it's funnier than. When I watched it back this time, I was like, oh, actually, it's funnier than I remember.
Yeah. Don't want to spoil it too much. Well, I say spoil it. It was 1984, so if people haven't seen this film by now, it's not.
Yeah, they're not going to, are they? It's funny because there's little bits that popped up in it, and we might not mention it as a plot point, but because it's not like big bits in the film. But there's a bit where Johnny Depp climbs in through the window, and it's identical to Skeet Ulrich climbing in through the window. And it made me think, surely Wes Craven, when they were casting that, they were just like, this guy looks just like young Johnny Depp. Like, he's all those years later, he's put in similar things into it just to make himself laugh, or just for the fans of this, maybe.
Yeah.
It's particularly the climbing. I'd love to see that side by side, like them go both climbing in through the window, because it's almost identical.
I think I made in my notes in the beginning actually something that reminded me of Scream as well.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, he must have had something in mind, like. But,
I mean, and this is this is something where a lot of the film is made originally just on the seat of the pants. It's like the boiler room's in an old prison. It's like you say, it's cheaper than people remember it, but it doesn't look cheap. Like it's dead creative. Some of the special effects are really creative. The blood stuff and the walls and the dreams and the bath, and some of that's creative camera work as well.
Yeah. Well, that's a part of the reason why I was so shocked that it was such a low budget, because it literally looked amazing to watch as an actual film. I would not have said that was low budget. Like, it looked great to me.
Would you say that this is the most dangerous that Freddy's in a film as well? Because, like, they soften him, don't they? I know that he's a child murderer, and in the modern remake, they make him into, like, a child molester. But in this one, he's the most dangerous. He's, like, not as much... He's not as funny as... Or not as OTT as he is in some of the later ones.
Yeah, no, I agree, because speaking from, like, I think it's like 3 and 4, they very much, all the kids kind of team up and figure out how to get him, kind of thing, so they go after him, rather than him go after them.
Yeah, it's like, fuck you, Freddy!
Yeah.
Fuck you. That's what I've got written on one of my DVDs, signed by Kincaid. Fuck you, Freddy! But yeah, you're right though. They all team up and they kind of take his power away a little bit, don't they? Whereas, like in this one, they don't know what the hell to do. She's not really got much of a plan. It's like, I want to arrest him, Dad. Like, yeah, okay, good luck. Good luck arresting that person from your dreams.
I'm going to pull him out of my dream. All right, then what?
Yeah.
I'll get my dad.
Get my dad. Yeah, he's like, I'll do that, darling. Yeah, so it is a bit of a... I feel he's more dangerous in this one. Maybe it's a bit more scary.
Yeah, I agree.
Than some of the other ones. But then some of the other stuff's a bit more gory and a bit more like you terrify a vein, isn't it? Like where there's a bit more goop and stuff like that. Whereas this isn't... It is gory, but they're like big set pieces rather than, trying to top the last one, because there isn't a last one.
All right, cool. All right, well, if you're ready, we'll go ahead and jump into this plot.
Boing. Yep.
Boing.
Spoiler warning.
Right, so... Teenager Tina Gray awakens from a terrifying nightmare in which a disfigured man wearing a bladed fixed glove attacks her in a boiler room. Her mother points out 4 mysterious slashes on her nightgown. The following morning, Tina's best friend Nancy and her boyfriend Glenn console her, revealing that they each also had a nightmare the previous night. The two stay at Tina's house when Tina's mother goes out of town, where Nancy also confesses to having the same nightmare.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I always seem to forget about that very first opening credit scene where you see Freddy making his glove. I always forget about that bit. It's really interesting.
Yeah, he's kind of actually showing you how he did it. Yeah, to be fair, I have too. I'd forgotten all about that. But yeah, it sets up everything, really, doesn't it? We see his lair, we see what he uses. We've got everything, really.
I think that's probably one of the only things I actually liked about the remake. I didn't really like the remake as a whole, but I did like how you got more of a backstory about Freddy. And I did see, I think I might have posted it on Facebook a while ago, there's a Robert Englund interview saying that he'd love to do a film, this is back in the 80s, but he'd love to do a prequel to this film about Freddy and how he became, where he got to, and the kids of Elm Street. Yeah.
I don't know if we need it, like, maybe I've been bitten too many times by Spider-Man, but like I don't know if we need origin. Like I'm a bit tired of origin stories, and like I watched one of the, I don't even know which one it was now, Chainsaw Massacre ones, where it's like, and this is what the family were like, and this is what they did, and this is why he has this, and I was just like, don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not that I don't like the new, if it's done well, like the new Spider-Man or whatever is good, but like some of it, you're just like, oh man, we don't need to go back and reboot everything constantly.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, this was the opening scene where I said about it kind of reminds me of Scream in a way, like, because she reminds me of, is it Casey, the first girl in
Drew
Scream.
Barrymore.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore. Yeah, that, you know, like blonde girl running away from the killer, and then, you know, she's the first to die. You know, you're introduced to this girl, and then she dies. Not straight away, but, you know, she's the first to go. So I don't know.
So.
Yeah,
Tina. Yeah,
Tina.
So you think of Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
A little Tina.
Tina's boyfriend, Rod, interrupts their sleepover. When Tina falls asleep, she dreams of the disfigured man chasing her.
Gotcha, bitch!
Was that Dave Chappelle?
Yeah. Rod is awakened by Tina's thrashing and sees her being dragged and fatally slashed by an unseen force, forcing him to flee as Nancy and Glenn awaken to find Tina's bloodied and dead body. Yeah. Well, she was getting dragged all around the ceiling. I thought that was a pretty cool effect, you know, her being on the ceiling.
Blood smear is good, actually. Like, not in real life, but in like in films, it looks quite shocking. It makes you kind of go, ugh.
Yeah. And he really did a number on her as well. Yeah, that's probably like the most iconic death to happen in the whole franchise, I'd say. You know, out of the 7 movies, the Craven movies, like, that's probably the one that comes to mind. I don't know about you. Is there a certain death that sticks out to you within the Nightmare franchise?
Maybe, is it Welcome to Prime Time?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe like the needles. Needles one.
Yeah, he's really creative with his kills.
The hypodermic noodles. Yeah, there's loads, but yeah, I would imagine this one. If Nancy had died, I think that the bloody bed thing with her would have been the most iconic, because that's probably a part that people most. Sorry, spoiler: Nancy doesn't die, but she's in the 3rd one, so you know, and we mentioned that earlier on, so. Work it out, guys.
Yeah.
But I don't think many people will be watching this for the breakdown of the film and be like, oh, what happens in Nightmare on Elm Street? Because surely if they're watching it or listening to it, they'll have seen this, won't they? They'll have seen it.
And we get to see Freddy, like, already, like, straight away. You know, she's in another dream, and there's that scene where he's got like really long arms and he's like running down the street like a maniac.
He's running like Phoebe from Friends.
I since doing this podcast, I don't know what it is. I'm noticing things that I haven't really noticed before with a very, very much critical eye, and I'm really kind of shocked on how good the visual effects was on that bit. Like after he runs down the street and chases her, and they fall into a table or something, and she grabs his face and pulls the skin off of his face, and he's just like a skeleton, and he's still like laughing away. And I thought that was a brilliant visual. And you get you get that shot of him cutting his fingers off, and like green blood is like squirting out. I think you can get a NECA figure of that, a little model with the squirting green blood.
Do you know what I think it is as well? It doesn't get a lot of who doesn't get a lot of kind of praise. I don't even know how to say his name, but I think it's Jacques Hatkin or Hatkin or Hotcon, French name. But he who's the cinematographer on a lot of the films around the 80s, like he does Shocker and he does one that I really like that people don't talk about called Cherry 2000. He was the director of photography on that, which looks really great. He does Nightmare on Elm Street 2. He does Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one. He's done like quite a lot of Roger Corman ones, but he always seems to they get reused a lot. He always seemed to do an incredible job with very little when it came to cinematography and thinking creatively on the spot, because he was always kind of given sequels and requels and trash stuff, but underrated cinematographer.
I just thought as well, like maybe another reason why this was so popular was because most horror films, especially in the 80s, you don't see the killer or the monster or whatever it is until like the final scenes. But this one, he literally is. He's the first person you see, and constantly throughout, he's there. He's in your face. He's not hiding. He's in front of you. So yeah,
the camera work is really clever, and doing a little bit of research onto to the cinematographer in it. He's also they brought him in to do to be a camera operator, even though he was like in his late 60s, early 70s, to get the look right in films like Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which I think is one of the better shot Marvel films. He was camera operator on Venom and Black Panther. So not a cinematographer in those films, but somebody they wanted behind the camera, probably because of the way that he can make, think creatively, like you say, put things together from the mind of the director. So yeah, a big up to him, especially on these low budget films that he did for most of his career. It's nice to see that later on, he's passed away now, but nice to see that later in his career he got to work on those massive budget ones as well.
Yeah, definitely. Right, so the next day, Nancy's father, Lieutenant Don Thomas, arrests Rod despite his pleas of innocence. At school, Nancy falls asleep in class and Freddy chases her into the boiler room where she is cornered, so she deliberately burns her arm on a pipe, which awakens her in class. She then notices a burn mark on her arm. Nancy visits Rod at the police station where he describes Tina's death along with his own recent nightmares about the same man stalking him in his dreams, leading Nancy to believe that he is the man that killed Tina. Got to give it up to Heather Langenkamp. I think she's probably one of the better actors in this movie.
Yeah, she comes across as really normal and she grounds the film. You need someone to ground the film.
She plays a lot of emotions, and I'm feeling it all throughout. Every emotion she's doing, I'm believing it. I think she's good. Yeah,
agreed.
She was at HorrorCon, and she had very, very good words of working with Robert Englund and Wes Craven, and yeah. That was my first HorrorCon, and I was really fangirling hard over her. Well, I couldn't believe that Nancy was in front of me. So when Nancy's at home, Nancy falls asleep in the bathtub, and she nearly gets drowned by Freddy.
I mean, a lot of people have done that. A number of times I've almost fallen asleep in the bath. Like when you're really, really tired. Oh man.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah,
and her mum did warn her.
Yeah, it's true. She should have listened to mum. She probably didn't know what was going to happen.
Nancy gets Glenn to watch over her as she sleeps, and if she looks like she's struggling, he's to wake her up. But she's awoken by her alarm clock instead because Glenn fell asleep.
You what?
She's not happy with Glenn.
Nah. Freddy kills Rod by wrapping bed sheets around his neck and strangling him, making it look like suicide by hanging.
Smart.
Yeah.
Why he's trying to cover his tracks, I don't know. Because nobody knows who he is at this stage.
Yeah.
They go like, it's a guy in his dreams that did it because he didn't cover it up properly. No.
Oh, but Glenn, no. He had one job. One job to do, and he fell asleep. He even promised.
There's a bit with Glenn when
Fail.
Where Glenn's on the Glenn's Johnny Depp, yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's on the phone to his mum, and he's telling her that he's staying over at their house.
Oh yeah.
And the sound effects tape. That's like something out of Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. Like, I forgot how well. Like, there's a little clue there that Johnny Depp's like got an aptitude for playing comedy.
Yeah.
He's really funny in that. It's quite broad comedy for a horror film. Like, it makes it a little bit better. There's always has to be a little bit of lightness with it as well, doesn't there? I think Nightmare on Elm Street probably has the most. As a series, probably has the most comedy out of all of them. The big four.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Not Leatherface isn't cracking any jokes, is he?
Did you notice the TV was playing Evil Dead 2?
Oh yeah, I didn't, but I read it.
Oh, Easter egg. Here's a question: if two of them sleep at the same time, can Freddy only get one of them?
Well, no. Well, later on, they're all in there, aren't they? In the other films,
there's
like 20 of them running around, going, "Come over here!"
Because I was just thinking about it, because I think this film is over the space of a few days, and it seems like someone dies every night. And you see Glenn asleep when Nancy's asleep, and he was fine. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Freddy figures it out further down the line.
Yeah, he seems to know what he's doing. He gets a lot better at his job. He's the one person who. Well, no, actually, no. Does he get better at his job, or does he get worse at his job as he goes along? Because more people seem to get into his dreams and deal with it. I don't know. It's hard to say. Do you think he gets better or worse?
Oh, he gets sloppy.
Worse. Yeah. Yeah, he's a lot better in this.
Does he?
Like we said, he's more dangerous.
I was going to say he gets older, but I guess he's dead. So does he get older?
No, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't.
So at Rod's funeral, Nancy's parents become worried that when she describes her dreams. Her mother takes her to a sleep disorder clinic where, in a dream, Nancy grabs Freddy's fedora with the name Fred Krueger written in it. And
you always write your name in your hats in case there's another psychopathic dream murderer who has the same hat as you. And then your mum's like, told you should have put your name in your hat. Yeah. You wouldn't have had this problem, would you?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mum.
You don't want to lose that dirty brown fedora.
We've learned something.
Yeah, so she pulls that out into the real world. After barricading the house, Marge, Nancy's mum, she explains that Krueger was an insane child murderer who killed 20 children, but was released on a technicality.
Of course.
Yeah. The parents of Elm Street seeked violence and took upon themselves to burn him alive. Nancy realizes that Krueger is killing her and her friends out of revenge and to satisfy his psychopathic needs.
Evil dies tonight.
Yeah, I did make a note actually. Like, I think, well, all the kids in this, brilliant actors, and I'm actually more bothered by Marge, Nancy's mum. I did not think she was a good actor whatsoever.
She does some funny screaming.
Yeah.
Like, really, like, non-stop funny screing.
She plays the same emotion through the whole movie. She's constantly, like, overreacting.
Yeah. I don't know. What would I do in that situation?
Yeah, and I also put, apparently, the original script had Freddy down as a child molester, but they changed it because they thought it was a bit too much. I think maybe they had to lower the rating. I don't know how it works. So they changed it to a child murderer instead of molester. Although it is heavily implied.
Yeah, it's not like
it's not
like he accidentally
creepy.
Murdered the kids either.
No.
That's still bad.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that stands out to me is the tongue through the phone.
Yeah, there's some dodgy shit going on. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I know that as Jackie L. Haley was like, I don't even like this. I don't even like Freddy. I don't even like Nightmare on Elm Street, and this film's shit. And like, it felt like it was a bad atmosphere making that film, and maybe there were some ideas behind it. Now, if they made it, it'd probably be very similar to how they made the new Exorcist. So you'd have like a few of the people from the original one just to give you the feels. There wouldn't be one Nancy, there'd be two. You know, it'd be covering every race, religion. Not that there's anything wrong with representation. I agree with it totally. But what I'm saying is like something like The Exorcist is mainly a film that's about Catholicism. So like it didn't need to be, like all religions band together, team extreme. Like you don't need that. In the same sense, I think if they made this now, it would be a real dog's dinner, probably worse than that one that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like Freddy versus Jason's a pretty fun film.
Yeah, the thing with the remake, I think it was too soon because Robert Englund was still.
He could have still done it.
Yeah, he could have. He's done interviews where he said, he was still up for it. I think since then he's now said that he's retired the glove.
Yeah, I think he was one for Team Crispy Bacon as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he wanted him. Maybe that's who I heard it from. No original ideas.
Yeah. So Nancy tries to call Glenn to warn him, but his father prevents her from speaking to him. Glenn falls asleep and then he's killed by Freddy Krueger. Now all alone, Nancy tells her dad, who is across the street investigating Glenn's death, to break into the house in 20 minutes. Nancy rigs booby traps around the house and grabs Krueger out of her dream and into the real world. The booby traps affect Krueger enough that Nancy can light him on fire and lock him in the basement. But when the police arrive, they find that Krueger has escaped.
Do you think Freddy Krueger's from South Africa? Freddy Krueger. It sounds like yes. It just sounds like Krueger is like a good, strong South African name. Fred Krueger. That's also my New Zealand accent as well.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah. My New Zealand accent's more like more friendly. It's more like present, merry, chick.
Maybe this is why we need a prequel. Figure out where he's from.
Yeah, where's he from originally? What's his background? Yeah, fucking prawn. He could be like, he's like a Vickers van der Meerde. Prawn.
Yeah, Nancy was on some serious Home Alone shit right here. Like she's making like trip wires, putting up sledgehammers above doors, putting gunpowder in light bulbs, and she somehow managed to do all of that in less than 20 minutes and get to sleep before her dad goes.
It's it's my home and I must defend it.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I noticed another thing. But where I found it quite funny when Freddy gets hit by that sledgehammer, like he stumbles out and falls over the banister above the stairs. But if you look closely, you can actually make out the mattress that he lands on that's on the stairs.
Yeah. I think in like spoofs and things like scary movies and stuff like that, falling down and like Scream guy tripping over his robe and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of ruined these sort of moments, isn't it? Because then at any time any like big bad character hurts themselves or falls over, you think of that. You think of it being funny rather than you think of it being like, oh, get away, run.
Yeah.
Been spoiled.
Glenn's death, though, bloody hell. I think there was 500 gallons of fake blood used in the waterbed when it squirted,
It's not like sort of painty coloured blood like Hammer horror blood on it, and it's not the kind of blood you get in Dario Argento. It's more realistic blood.
Yeah. I'm a little confused by that death, though, because obviously he's killed in his sleep, but how come his mum can kind of like see everything, the big explosion of blood?
He just has that connection, that mum connection.
Oh, I don't know.
Mums just, know these things like twins.
Yeah, I just figured, like, if he... I guess we don't actually get to see his nightmare. We just see his death. Everyone else, they're just asleep in their bed and they get cut or whatever. But him, I don't know. He explodes somehow.
He explodes somehow. That's a good quote. You don't get to say that in many other situations. He explodes somehow. The guy down the chippy? Yeah. He just exploded somehow. Oh yeah. Nobody knows why.
Nancy and Don go upstairs to find a burning Krueger smothering Marge in her bedroom. After Don extinguishes the fire, Krueger and Marge vanish into the bed. I'm not sure what that's about either. But,
they've got history.
Yeah, he takes her down somewhere into the bed. When Don leaves the room, Krueger rises from the bed behind Nancy. Realizing that Krueger is fueled by his victim's fear, she calmly turns her back to him. Krueger evaporates when he attempts to lunge at her.
Does she ever tell him to fuck off?
Yeah, see, I don't know. There's another thing. How did she figure that out? How did she know that he's powered by fear?
Dreams. Because dreams.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason.
Nancy steps outside.
For me, man.
I'm not. Nancy steps outside into a bright but foggy morning where all her friends and her mother are still alive. Nancy gets into Glenn's convertible to go to school when the green and red striped top suddenly comes down and locks them into the car, and it drives uncontrollably down the street. 3 girls in white dresses play jump rope, and they can be heard chanting Krueger's nursery rhyme as Marge is grabbed by Krueger through the front door window. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
that was put in to give it an ending, wasn't it?
Yeah. I've seen this movie a million times, and I'm still unsure about that ending. Like, I don't think I entirely get it.
I don't think they had an ending, did they? Like, I mean, even after that, like, I don't think they quite have an ending in the sense of like he didn't know how to end it, but they have to end it somehow.
Yeah, for me, it's that whole final sequence from everything from Freddy somehow not being able to kill Nancy to then her mum being ripped through that tiny little window. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, it's fun to watch. I don't know if it entirely makes sense, but yeah, it was a good watch.
Yeah. I mean, I think the ending, they had to think of something. I think that's the only reason that's the way it is. But it's not a bad ending. It's not like it might have made somebody jump in the cinema, like.
But that's not explained in the third one, is it? Because obviously Nancy comes back in the third one. Nothing's said about.
Oh, a mum. We don't care about that. By then, she's grown up, and as we know from films, once you've grown up and moved away from home, then we never speak of those things again. Unless the film is about you going back home 20 years later to a family reunion or like a school reunion. You're never going to see your family again.
Yeah.
Oh, she sees her dad, though, doesn't she, in the third one?
Yeah.
I ruined that.
Oh,
Never mind.
I don't know.
It's like she's like, "How's mum?" Yeah. Meaning to tell you.
I've just made a quick note about the 3 girls playing jump rope and singing that song. Is that the only time you hear that song? The 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
I think doesn't another character sing it like just goofing around, like what's Rod or somebody maybe.
They do in the third one.
Oh, I thought Rod sings something similar. Or you hear kids singing it when right near the beginning when they're on the way to school and Rod's being an idiot. I'm sure there's some kids singing in the background. Maybe there is, but yeah, it's
that's become quite a staple in the
franchise. And I heard that's Heather Langenkamp's boyfriend at the time was just like goofing around and made that up, and they put it in the film.
Yeah. And I think they got married as well.
Oh, is it the same as the guy who does this? So if it is that, it's the guy who does all the special effects that they base the character on.
I think I did make a note. Oh yeah, Alan Pasqua.
So if it is, oh right, okay. I just assumed that it was like that she didn't get married to the guy that she'd have been boyfriend and girlfriend with on the first film. That she's, that the character's kind of portraying in the later one with the where they've got the son and everything, what's he called? Dylan.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, let's wrap this up and get to our ratings. So I've done a rating of 1 to 10 licky tongue phones. Licky tongue phone. Yeah, so
you're gonna be sick.
Without a doubt, this is one of the biggest and most popular horror movies that's ever been made. I completely understand why. I mean, it stands out against all others, and I think Wes Craven, such a powerful mind to come up with these concepts that was so out there. I'm not sure if it's entirely 100% accurate, where there's a couple of little things that don't quite add up. More at the end. But
it's not a documentary, that's for sure. However, it is based on a real life tribe, isn't it?
Tribe?
Like a tribe of indigenous women who had in like some jungle somewhere. That's what I heard. Or maybe I'm getting they all had horrible experiences from dreams, and some of them died.
Oh right. Oh well, I have got something in the trivia. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about.
Oh, maybe I've got a different conspiracy theory.
But yeah, I mean, I love the concept, the characters, the franchise. I love Freddy, and I love Wes Craven. I don't think I can give it a solid 10 out of 10. I'd understand why people, would put it as a 10 out of 10, but I'm going to go with a solid 9 licky tongue phones out of 10.
Ooh. Yeah, well, it's not my favourite series of films. Like I prefer Friday the 13th as a series. Not that you have to choose, because I do like them all. And I've probably watched it the least out of all of the series. However, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is one of my favourite horror films. And I'm maybe in the minority where the sillier it gets, the more I enjoy it. Whereas I can appreciate this, a bit like how I feel like this about this the same way as I feel about the first Halloween, where it's not my favourite, but it's probably the best. It is iconic. It is an iconic character. There's, in the same way as John Carpenter's kind of got a group of people together working, and it's just like literally, without sounding like cliched, it is like capturing lightning in a bottle, like all the right people at the right time doing the right things. You can't criticize it in any way. It is one of those perfect films. Well, you can criticize it if you want, but I don't care. But it's, for me, I always grade on how much I love the film. So the more I watch it, the more I appreciate it. It's a great film. I couldn't, in my right mind, give it like a low score, because I don't think it deserves that. It is a great film. It is an iconic film. And Wes Craven's amazing. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Ooh, 8 out of 10. Sweet. All right, let's jump into our trivia.
Trivia. Oh, yeah.
So, A Nightmare on Elm Street almost never got made. It was getting turned down by everyone. Wes Craven was told nobody would want to watch a movie about dreams. But it grossed almost 1.3 million during its opening weekend and was considered an instant success, becoming one of the biggest horror movies of all time.
Ooh.
And yeah, this is interesting. I wouldn't have thought this. Freddy actually gets less than 7 minutes of screen time.
See, I thought he was in it more than, say, Michael Myers was in Halloween.
Yeah,
but,
that's what I thought.
It's a short film, though, as well, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
It's like only an hour and a half, isn't
it? Charlie Sheen was originally cast to play Glenn.
Mr. Sheen?
Yeah, but he wanted too much money, so they went with Johnny Depp.
He wanted money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that they did well. It would have felt like Ferris Bueller's Day Off if he'd have just popped up for.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And yeah, this might be the one that you're talking about. So I'll finish with this one. So Wes Craven has revealed that he came up with the idea for A Nightmare on Elm Street after reading an LA Times article about a family that had survived the killing fields in Cambodia. They made it into the United States, but a young boy in the family still found himself haunted by terrible nightmares while he slept. Craven explains he told his parents that he was afraid that if he slept, the thing chasing him would get him. So he tried to stay awake for days at a time. When he finally fell asleep, his parents thought his crisis was over. Then they heard screams in the middle of the night, but by the time they got to him, he was dead. He died in the middle of a nightmare.
Blimey. Well, that's worse than my story. And mine was just kind of like a bit of, I don't know, whether it was hearsay or I'd just kind of globbed together a load of ideas from other places. But yeah, that's really sad. I believe that one probably more than mine. So yeah, I guess the thing about this film is it's a great central idea, and that's what makes it stand out from the crowd, I think. A little bit of trivia: the street next to mine, when from my teenage years upwards, was Elm Street.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
So even when kids at school were talking about it, and I think around the second and third one, people were talking about Freddy a lot more, like in primary school, and getting it from the video shop and that kind of thing. I hadn't seen them, but I just kind of would walk past Nightmare Street, walk past Elm Street and go, oh, it's a bit scary down there.
Oh. Yeah, you might see him running like a maniac down the street.
Look at. Well, my parents still live there, so hopefully they'll be okay.
Okay, all right. Let's head into this week's game.
I want to play a game.
Okay. This week's game I've made is how well do you know the OGs? I'm going to test your knowledge on the classics.
Let's go.
Which hand does Freddy wear his glove on?
Left. So hooray.
No, he's right-handed with his glove.
Oh, man.
I had to check with my models because I've got a few Freddy models, and I went out there and I had to look. In the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the inbred cannibal Sawyer family consists of how many members?
Ooh, okay. So if it's the same as in the what's she called, Alexandra Daddario version that I watched the other night, at the beginning where it's like a flashback. So you've got the dad guy who's like the boss guy. Are we counting babies as well? Because there was babies in that one.
I'm going by the original 1970 whatever it is.
I've not seen that. So
have you not? Oh, well.
No.
Okay.
I've seen the second one, which I really like. I've seen the most recent one.
If it helps,
I've seen this one with I saw the Alexander Daddario one.
If it helps, I think it's the same amount of members in the second one, although they did swap a couple.
So is Chop Top in the first one as well?
No, he's only in the second.
Oh. Fuck it, 5. If in doubt, say 5, kids.
Yep. What is the town called in The Lost Boys?
Santa. Shit, I was going to say Santa Carla. Oh man, I was going to get mixed up with
the real name.
No, Halloween 3. Santa Mira.
Oh, right. In Halloween, Laurie tells Tommy and Lindsay to go to whose house?
Oh shit. The Tramer's house, Bennett Tramer.
No, she tells Tommy and Lindsay to go to the Mackenzie's house.
Okay.
Across the street.
Wasn't paying attention.
What is Chucky's real name?
Charles.
Yes.
Charles, that's enough. I just call him Charles.
You can get half a point.
Yay. Charles Montgomery Burns.
Yeah.
Charles Lee Ray.
There you go. You got that of a point. Oh, you're googling it. I take it back.
I've only ever watched.
Oh, wrong one.
I still guessed Charles.
All right, half a point.
I have seen the first one, and I've seen I think I've seen the one with the Scottish guy in it who plays like this sort of emo doll as well. I can't think what that one's called. Not Bride of Chucky. What's that one called? Where he's got like a son. Maybe
the Seed of Chucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, Glenn or Glenda.
That's the one. Yeah, Seed of Chucky. I've seen that one. Billy Boyd is the actor who's in that. Yeah.
Creepshow consists of how many short stories?
Are we including the vignettes at the beginning?
No.
3? 5. Oh.
I can't list them out, but they're 5.
Oh, there's 5. Okay. 5. I don't remember. Oh, of course, yeah. I could probably look in my notebook that's right in front of me from when we did Creepshow. Of course, yeah. Then we ranked them, didn't we? And which one was the best and which one's the...
Mm-hmm. Geordie Verrill.
Jodie.
In Scream, Casey Becker fails to answer a horror-related question correctly. What was it referring to? What movie did she get wrong?
She gets a question about Friday the 13th wrong.
Yay! Yeah, so you got 1, 2, 2.5.
Oh, well, that's exactly what I deserve.
Oh no, 3.5.
3.5?
3.5. 3.5 out of 5. 6? Oh, I did 7. All right.
I'm more disappointed now. He counted them up. I thought it was 2.5 out of 5.
All right. Let's wrap up this episode. So, next week is the poll pick. It was the poll pick for the Haunted House. We had a total votes across all platforms of 129 votes. It was between Malevolent, Poltergeist, and Amityville Horror. And Amityville Horror won by quite a long shot, actually.
Yeah, I've not seen that, so I'm looking forward to that.
I put a picture up on Facebook, and people are going nuts over it. Everyone's saying how much that they loved it and how much it scared them.
Maybe I'll like it too, or maybe I'll just give it 6 out of 10. So that's next episode.
Yeah, I reckon you'll like it. It's a really good film.
There's no animal peril in it?
Is there? They do have a dog. I think it's fine.
Well, we'll check it out. I'll put it into the website. Does the dog die in this?
I don't think it does. Yeah. No, it's a good film. Based on a true story, if you believe in it.
And also, there's about 37 million films with Amityville in them.
Yeah. Yeah, sure is.
I think you should list them all. Find out the name of all of them for our next episode.
I'll find everyone.
Every film that has the name Amityville in it.
Amityville in space.
Yeah.
Amityville X.
An Amityville exorcist.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening. If you've liked today's episode and want to hear more, then go ahead and give us a follow on wherever you're listening from. You can also like us on Facebook, as that's where we do our themed poll picks, where you get to vote for what we do next. Feel free to leave us a comment or send us a message, or you could even email us at allthingshorror666@gmail.com. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
We all go a little mad sometimes.